Gen.G have just pulled off the impossible, taking down the Ultimates in Game 7 overtime to secure their spots at the Birmingham Major. And in today's video, we'll be discussing exactly what allowed them to be successful in the most critical match of the season so far. So we'll be getting into how exactly Gen.G was able to maintain their massive amounts of pressure in Game 7 overtime in just a moment, but first we need to point out a very fortunate situation that actually allowed them to stay alive in Game 6 that I don't think anyone really noticed. So if we play this forward, we're gonna have this moment here where Cheese looks to have a possible shot on a somewhat open net as Retals gets the ball to him, but as he puts this shot forward, LJ pretty much has the entire net covered. I mean, there's really nowhere that Cheese can put this ball that it would actually be able to be on target while also getting around LJ. So realistically, he's done a very good job to at least get this ball away from the challenge, therefore allowing Gen.G to theoretically maintain a fairly good position on the field. But the fact that LJ is challenging this ball as he is what's actually going to help out right after this moment. Because you see, LJ is about to get a pretty solid bump on Cheese here, bumping him back towards his own half, rather than Cheese's momentum continuing to carry him forward into the net of the Ultimates. And this bump is going to be very critical for Gen.G's survival, as we can see that right after this, First Killer is going to come in with a massive booming clear down the field that is just going to go right over the top of Majicbear's head. And if Cheese was not bumped into this exact position and had landed instead inside the Ultimate's net, there is absolutely no one back for Gen.G, and this would have been a wide open net and a win for the Ultimates. But instead, Cheese is able to recognize the danger and boost back and get the touch back out into the corner and allow his team to reset, and then that is what is going to set up the game-winning play here as Majicbear comes down the field, passes it off to Retals, and Retals slots it into the back of the net. So very big moment there that pretty much went unnoticed just because of how much was going on at the time. But a very fortunate outcome there for Gen.G to have Cheese be bumped into the exact spot he needed to be in to be able to make the save that kept Gen.G alive in this series. As we jump into Game 7 here, we are going to be picking up this overtime as we reach the minute-and-a-half in mark, and this is going to be a major turning point in this overtime for Gen.G. So up to about this point, this overtime has been very, very even. Both teams have had possessions, both teams have had opportunities to possibly look for scoring chances. No one's been successful yet, but in a moment, Cheese is going to get a flick over the top of Chronic here, and that is pretty much going to start to spell the end for the Ultimates in this series, as Gen.G is just going to start to completely lock the Ultimates into their half. They'll allow a couple of short clears back into the Gen.G half, but the ball will pretty much immediately transition back down the field. And while that ball is in offense, there's a couple of things that we want to keep an eye on. Number one is Gen.G's rotation. They're going to be very aggressive in terms of boost steals. And what that's going to do is it's going to force the Ultimates to have to run out to the mid boosts to be able to have enough to play with. The second thing we're going to notice is Gen.G's desire to play the ball from side to side, often fairly high in the air. So whenever they take their challenges, they're really not trying to push the ball forward or push it backwards. They're really trying to play it to either side. And what that does is it then forces the Ultimates to have to utilize resources to go across to wherever the ball ends up. Meanwhile, there's probably a Gen.G player already over there expecting the outcome of that challenge. So what Gen.G is going to do is they're going to utilize this challenge game to make sure they are always in a position to play off what's happening and make sure the Ultimates are pretty much stuck chasing the play the entire time. And because the Ultimates are chasing the play, they're going to end up low on boost. They're not going to be able to maintain pressure in the half of Gen.G, and it's going to mean that Gen.G can just continuously apply pressure until the Ultimates eventually make a mistake and crack under the pressure that Gen.G is putting on. So let's go ahead and take a look through this from the perspective of Majicbear, our eventual goal scorer, and let's see how we get along. So Cheese gonna get the flick downfield. Up for the challenge he goes, off the backboard looking for the pass. Majicbear is going to go in, and just like that, there's our first challenge to the side. So you can see Majicbear, as he approaches this ball, ends up like backflipping and then contacting the ball with the bottom of his car, angling it to the left side. So it looks right now that he's gonna just take this challenge straight on. But the problem with that is that it's very difficult to dictate exactly where it goes with your car positioned like this. So instead, he's going to make use of the fact that First Killer has to challenge this ball and is pretty much just looking to get really whatever challenge he can, whilst Majicbear is looking to play this ball into a specific spot. And all he's going to do is think, well, where's the space? Well, it's not really over here because LJ is already over here. So let's go this way where there's this boost, this open wall over here, and let's play for this space and force the ultimates to chase the play across the field. So you can see he does a very nice job of angling his car here, allows himself to recover quickly, and allows him to get back to the ball. So now we got the ultimates in a very awkward spot because all three defenders are now back, seeing Majicbear come forward, which puts them in a pretty awkward position. So now Majicbear can work through, challenge First Killer, but again, this challenge is very loose. There's really no way for the ultimates to be able to follow it up, and Retals is ready to play off the challenge. And you can see the very big important thing about the structure of Gen.G here is we pretty much have either direction on the challenge covered. Because if the ball goes back to the left side, Retals has that there. If the ball had come over here to the right side, Cheese is right here and would have been able to play into that. So we have very good field coverage here for Gen.G, while the ultimates are kind of all stuck in very similar places, very flat-footed, allowing Gen.G to maintain this pressure. So Majicbear, again, just going to linger in the midfield here, see what we got. Cheese, again, playing it to the side into open space, not going directly towards the net, where Chronic is expecting this ball to go, but rather playing it sideways to a possible teammate, to possible open space, where again, the ultimates have to chase it down. Retals pops it up, again, just keeping the ball in awkward spots, forcing the ultimates to have to utilize resources to go get to it. Possible opportunity there, not quite going to work out, but again, the spread of the field for Gen.G is allowing them to maintain this pressure. Now, here is the first moment where we're going to see a slight clear from the ultimates, but exactly what we talked about with Gen.G's pressure is what's going to allow Gen.G to make very little work of getting the ball back into the ultimates half. First Killer simply has no boost, so very, very difficult for First Killer in this kind of position to get any kind of play on this ball that's going to put his team in a favorable spot, and is not going to result in either Cheese just getting the ball back into the offensive half, or the ball just rolling right here to Majicbear, who will just boom it back into the offensive half. So very tough spot here for First Killer, but realistically, this is set up by that Gen.G pressure and their ability to continuously put the ball in awkward spots, forcing the ultimates to utilize resources and then not have the resources to be able to play the ball once they finally have an opportunity for a clear. So Cheese gonna get it over the top. Majicbear gonna recognize the threat and just jump right in on it. Pressure out here. And now we have a free ball for Retals, who's going to punt it back into the offensive half. Cheese almost with a crazy redirect, but again, look at the positioning of the ultimates here and what this counterattack does, because all three players from the ultimates see this possible shot coming out from Retals and Cheese, and they all just kind of beeline back to the net, which means they're all right here because this is super threatening. They don't really have a whole lot of time to communicate who's going where, who should go where to set themselves up to be able to get a clear out, because they really don't know what's coming through here. So, of course, better to have, multiple people in net for if a very, very hard shot comes on, which is about to happen from Cheese. So they stack up in net to ensure they get the save, but in doing so, when the clear comes out, it's very soft, very loose, and again, it will just allow Gen.G to maintain this offensive pressure. So Cheese almost with the craziest shot ever, but again, the ball just goes right to the side. Retals right there, picks it up, more control for Gen.G. Now we're going to force out double commits from the ultimates because they're starting to get panicky, starting to get very aggressive, and again, that ball is just going side to side. There's never an attempt here to go towards the net because that's what the defenders are defending. So if we don't go to where the defenders are and instead play the ball to where they are not, we make life very difficult for whatever defender is back, in this case, LJ. So very nice pass there from Retals to utilize the space that the ultimates is giving up by being that boxed in their own net. Cheese, good shot attempt, just not quite going to work out, but again, LJ has no choice but to get whatever touch he can there to keep the ball out of his net, But in doing so, Retals is able to turn right onto it and, again, maintain this pressure. Majicbear checking the status of the opponents, just gonna drive on forward and again take the challenge, sending the ball across the way, forcing the ultimates to burn their resources. Here we go again, LJ burning everything he has to get this ball downfield. This is gonna be the longest stint of offense, so to speak, even though there's really no opportunity to score here that the ultimates is going to have at the end here. Bit of an awkward challenge here, but again, we're just seeing there's really no ability for the ultimates to maintain pressure because, again, look at their boost amounts. Nothing here, nothing here. One stealing boost in the corner. So there's absolutely no way for them to actually effectively, consistently challenge this ball because they simply do not have the resources to be able to do so. So now that ball downfield, Cheese again looking for the redirect. Gonna recognize that there's really no danger here. Majicbear taking a light touch. Again, fairly loose clear from LJ. Majicbear gonna let Cheese come forward. We're right back into the offensive half. And again, look at the boost situation. Chronic is gonna be rewarded with a corner boost over here, but First Killer stuck on the backboard with 0. LJ just went all the way into Gen.G's half to get some boost. So this is the kind of situation that the Ultimates is having to deal with pretty consistently here in this overtime, is having to run away from the play to go get boost. Meaning that over and over and over again, Gen.G has these odd man opportunities where there's less defenders than there is attackers, and it makes life very, very simple. Ball out here, and again, you got Chronic and First Killer. Chronic actually didn't have time to go get that boost, so both Chronic and First Killer are on 0 boost while moving up the field. Makes it very easy for these challenges to come out. Majicbear very easily gets the clear down the field. Again, LJ forced to burn all of his resources to get up to that challenge. Majicbear is going to steal the boost from him. Now we're in a situation where Chronic has just been beat out by Retals. First Killer is the only one back with any boost since LJ just got his yoinked by Majicbear, and First Killer is currently facing forward with this ball coming over the top of him, clearly thinking that Chronic was going to have some kind of win on this challenge, or some kind of 50 at least, but when Retals gets the clean win, it puts First Killer in a very difficult spot. And here's the game winner coming out, and it's where we're going to see how this side-to-side movement can really throw off this defense, because First Killer goes ahead and gets a pretty decent touch into the corner, to be fair, but now LJ, who was possibly trying to calm First Killer off, has pushed forward into this near post position, which means when Retals lands from this challenge and pushes forward, LJ has to jump over him, meaning that he lands in like this area here, more or less putting both him and First Killer in the same spot. So now all Cheese has to do is the most plat play of all time, just hit the ball into the wall and roll it around, and let Majicbear come forward into the open net, as that side-to-side movement and the bump presence of Retals completely throws off the Ultimate's defense. LJ with no boost, Majicbear in the perfect spot, waiting for this challenge to play out, and as soon as this ball drops in front of him, he knows where it's going, directly into the back of the net, and it really is very simple Rocket League there from Gen.G. All they're doing is keeping the ball in awkward spots where it forces Ultimates to utilize resources to go get challenges. And in those challenges, Gen.G often is directing the ball from side to side into open space. When they have free touches, they're not trying to go towards the net where the defense is. They're pushing it away from the defense into that open space, again, forcing that defense into awkward positions where they're burning their resources, going for these challenges that they're not even getting touches on. And when you burn your resources and don't even get a touch in a challenge, you're just now completely out of the play and forced to scavenge for boost on your way back in whatever way you can. But while you're trying to make your way back, and even once you do get back, your team is in a significantly more vulnerable position because you're just not able to set up on defense how you'd like to, you're not able to challenge the ball how you'd like to, and it's what allowed Gen.G to just completely control the last 2 minutes of this game, and therefore secure their spots at the Birmingham Major. Of course, thank you everybody so much for watching. I really do appreciate each and every one of you who made it to this point in the video, and I do hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you click that subscribe button right down below, so you make sure you don't miss any future Rocket League content. Additionally, if you'd like to be a bit more involved in the community we're building here, feel free to check out my Discord, which I'll have linked down in the description. And as always, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. See you later, guys.